Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon for our demonstration. Thanks for giving up your time to come and have a look. For those that have already kind of seen the software before, hopefully you'll kind of learn something today, whether or not that's you're already kind of using it or you're looking to adopt this. For those that haven't really kind of seen this before, hopefully we'll be able to kind of take you through how you can get an estimate off the back of a plan within our software. For those that have kind of used this GoToMeeting software before, just to kind of highlight on the control panel, on the GoToMeeting control panel, it sometimes hides, but there's a little orange button you can press that does expand it. There is a little kind of question box you can kind of type away. So if you guys want to ask questions, feel free to kind of type the questions. And what we'll do a bit of a kind of a roundup towards the end, a little kind of Q&A session. Just so I know that everyone's can hear me and you are kind of all kind of tuned in. If you just type in the question box that you can hear me, I'll know that I'm kind of coming through loud and clear, and you guys know how to kind of use the box. Excellent. Well done. You get a gold star for that, so well done. Right. So everyone hopefully can see that, what we've got on screen. What everyone's looking at the moment is our Plans Express software. And obviously everybody can kind of see we've got a nice little kind of two-story bricky building spinning around on the kind of 3D. And we've got the plan on the left-hand side just here. What I'm going to be doing today is, I'll stop that spinning. What we're actually going to do is we're actually going to build an extension off the back of this property. And then we're going to feed into this program, which is our Estimator Express. And Estimator Express is actually going to give us a price of the extension itself. I've already done a nice kind of, for those that have probably shown my age, that have the kind of watched Blue Peter in the past, this is one I've obviously kind of prepared earlier just for today. So what I'm going to be doing is actually doing a kind of a rear extension off the back of here. All right. It's going to make this 3D just a little bit smaller, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it open just so you can actually see the extension kind of build up off the back of this this property. Now, you don't necessarily need to have the existing plan to do it, but I'm kind of doing this just as a kind of a reference point. What I've done, I've actually kind of created this kind of two-story in Plans Express just for today, so we can kind of show you the extension coming off. But you could just do the extension on its own without the aid of an existing building, and that's quite easy enough to do. All we're going to do is actually build the extension off this kind of back wall here. Okay. The method we're going to be using is going to keep it with the similar kind of style. It's going to be a brick and block, but I could do an external render if I wanted the extension to be a slightly kind of different finish. I could do that if I wanted to as well. So what we're going to be doing is actually building the extension off here. Now, before I do that, I just need to kind of check the actual length of this particular wall here we're building off. Now, if I highlight the wall, now we know it's highlighted because on the 3D it kind of goes this really nice kind of purple shade. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to right-click on the mouse, and within this kind of sub-menu, I'm actually just going to click Dimensions. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull the dimensions out of this wall just to kind of check what the dimensions are. So if I just the left mouse click there, it takes a second or two to refresh, and the dimensions should appear. There we go. So on this back wall, from this corner to the start of that window, it's 5789. Okay, the actual total length of the wall is 7974. Now what I'm going to be doing, I'm actually going to be doing, let's say a 4 meter by 5 meter, and then kind of come back on here. All right. So I'm just going to do the undo button on the toolbar, and that's going to take that dimension off. I just want to kind of check it just to get the size of the extension. I did have a little practice on this earlier, just to kind of get an idea of the of what I want to do. But with Plans Express, obviously being a kind of a CAD system, the world is your oyster. You can kind of set the length of each wall, etc., how you want to be. You can get the input from the client. You can give them some different kind of ideas and stuff as well on that. So in order to actually draw a wall, all I have to do is this tab here. It says architectural. This is all your kind of drawing tools in here. So it's all your kind of walls, your external walls, internal walls, any kind of feature masonry you want to put on there, quoins, dental course, parapets, stone sills. They're all kind of in this list. If you're doing any kind of internal walls, you can do internal blocks, studs, internal cavities. We also do ICF and SIP walls if you're kind of building with that method. And on the external walls, we've got a mixture of brick and block, external rendered cavity block walls, or even kind of stone walls. You can also see down here we can actually do the external kind of cladding on the outside, and we can also put in retaining walls, or if we're building a garage, we've got a mixture of the multi-leaf walls, whether or not they're insulated double skins or solid walls, triple walls. You've got the library down here. I'll explain about the other ones as we go, but I'm going to be focusing on just popping a wall just on here. So in order to actually choose the wall, we go into this menu, go into the sub-menu of the brick and block walls, and then we're actually given a different kind of selection of varying heights on the walls that you can select, whether or not they're going to be a ground floor with foundations, or whether or not there's going to be an additional floor above, obviously without foundations, if we're doing it on the first or second floor on the property. But we're going to be doing a single story extension. Let's see, say we're going to do it 2.4 meters high. So I'm going to pick that one by selecting it. And then what happens now, we get this kind of dialog box up. Now, for those that are kind of familiar with Estimator Express, this is the information that's going to now be passed into Estimate, or it will be passed into Estimator Express when we estimate it. So these kind of same dialog boxes, you'll actually find in this bit of software here. So what we're doing is we're telling the software the height. We've already got that predefined, 2.4 meters high. We've got leaf thicknesses of 100 mil. We've also got a depth of a trench at 900 mil. Again, if you need to go a little bit deeper, ground conditions are such, you need to dig a little bit deeper for those. You can just adjust them in here. And also the actual width of the trench is the 600 mil width. How much concrete you're going to pour in there, bear in mind it's 900 mil, so we're doing about 400 mil of concrete. Again, if you need to kind of increase that depth of concrete, just increase that. And also as well the foundation, or certainly the footings that are going in there. So it just highlights the DPC level, cavity widths, splash course depths, trench block heights, etc. And again, they can all be adjusted. What the software will also do when it goes into Estimator Express, as well as the external brickwork, it will also do the internal kind of block kind of plaster, decorate that plaster work, and it will also do a kind of a skirting board around the internal leaf, as well as prime and decorate it as well. But once we put the job into Estimator Express, I'll kind of show all these kind of values anyway. So what we're doing now is we need to place it. So I'm going to use this top right hand corner. Obviously it's the rear of the property, but it could be the back right hand corner. And what I'm doing there, I'm just kind of moving the mouse just into that kind of the corner. And what it's doing is actually finding what we call a kind of a snap point. So if I left mouse click, that's the wall we're actually placing. Now, we're slightly off corner. If I was kind of doing the wall in that direction, it would be nice and flush. And that arrow represents the external leaf. But if we kind of go up, you'll see that it's slightly off corner. Now, to correct that, on the keyboard, what I'm doing, I'm actually pressing the J key. It stands for Justification. And if you press it once and press it twice, that now makes it flush against that wall. You can also use on the toolbar, you've got the Justification there. We can use that if we want to as well. Now you'll also notice the arrows pointing in the wrong direction. That's the external leaf. If I drew that wall now, it's going to be inside out. The brickwork will be on the inside. Again, on the keyboard, very quickly, press the F key. What that does, that actually now flips the wall to the right direction. So there's little kind of shortcut keys we do. We do have a nice kind of PDF that kind of lists all the kind of shortcut keys anyway, which you'll actually have. So what I'm going to do here now, to actually place a distance, I'm now, again, going to the keyboards. I'm not using the mouse. And on the keyboard, you'll have an up, down, left, right keys on the keyboard. Now, if I press the up arrow key, what that's now doing is actually allow me to actually type in the distance of that wall. It's going to pick it up in millimeters. It's going to be going in a, say, northerly direction from bottom to top. And then what I'm now doing, I'm actually going to pop in 4,000 to represent 4,000 mil, so a 4 meter length wall. Press enter, and that's now kind of drawn that wall for me. Okay. What we can then do is we can now go from right to left, so pressing the left mouse key. And what I can then do, I can actually put in 5,000 to represent 5 meters. And then all I have to then do is actually pull the wall, pull this down. And what it will then do, it will find the perpendicular point of the wall we're actually joining onto. All right, it will kind of snap to that point there. And then if I just there we go. It's now kind of drawn the extension off the back of that property, or certainly the walls anyway, at this kind of stage. Okay. Now what I also want to do, I want to open up this wall here. Now how I do that, I'm going to select that wall. Actually first, I'm actually going to find out the actual measurement just here. Now I do that, if I right click, go to the annotation button, you see that kind of linear dimension tool. If we click on that, and I click on the inside of that wall and inside of that wall, that will allow me to actually measure that little kind of area just there. Okay, so we can actually tell that the inside of that wall there is 4395 wide. So if I want to open that wall up, I just have to create an opening under the opening menu, openings and steelwork. Go to the structural opening. I can do a large opening size, and what I can then do, I can just adjust that to, let's call it 4.3 or 4.2, accept defaults. But what that's going to do as well is actually open that up, put a steel in, and it's also going to plaster around that opening as well for me. And then all we then do is pop that in just there. Okay, and then we've actually opened up that wall just there. If I wanted to, I could have done it to the 4395. Again, if you want to redo it, just undo that button there, and again, just pick another one. Again, a medium size opening, and if I want to put it in at 4.395, accept that, and then that will actually just kind of fit in there quite snugly. And there we go again, we've opened again that wall up. Okay, and again, as I said, that's actually putting a steel in there as well for you. Once it goes into Estimator Express, you can actually swap the steel out if you like, based on the engineer's kind of recommendation for the steel to kind of go across there. All right. So we've opened that up. What I'm now going to do is actually put in. I'm just going to get rid of that that dimension. And we do that just by selecting it. And then all I'm going to do, just press delete, and then that little dimension goes away. So what I'm now going to do, I'm actually going to put a floor in here. So we're going to put a slab down. It's going to take that 3D, open it up so we can see down now. So under the flooring section, I'm going to go to a slab. Doesn't necessarily have to be a slab. It could be if you're actually doing a beam and block. You can put a beam and block floor in there, and we can also do a suspended timber ground floor if you're putting a timber floor in there. But we're going to do a slab, I'm going to do an extension slab, and then we've got a choice of whether or not we're actually going to do it reinforced or unreinforced. We're going to do it reinforced. It just means that when we get to this section, the reinforcement's been selected as being yes, and we can also put the depth of that slab in there as well. Again, you can adjust that to whatever depth you want the slab in there. So to place the slab, all we do is go into this corner here, go into the next corner, and what that will do is actually pull the slab all the way down there. We're going to go beyond the opening, so we're actually going to put a slab into the opening part just down there as well. Okay, so it covers the opening. If you're going to screed the top of that very, very quickly under the flooring, we can go to the where is it, down here, go to the screeding, and then we can just screed the area we want to screed. Again, you can price this up, it will go into Estimator Express, and then all we're going to do is run round the area we want to screed. So we're going to screed it to there, and you can see that what the software is doing, it's kind of snapping to the kind of snap points, and what we do is we finish off in that little kind of circle just there. And if I right click, that then kind of takes the last thing we did off. So that is now screeded, and I'll show you that again when we go into Estimator Express. What we also want to pop in here as well is I guess it's a mixture of what kind of roof you're going to put in there. I kind of made a decision I was going to do a flat roof for you guys, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a flat roof. If we are doing a lean-to, you can kind of do one of those as well. If you're estimating the roof up, and this will actually estimate all the tiling, all the timbers, it will estimate all the guttering once it goes into Estimator Express, and whether or not you're actually going to finish off. And if you're doing a lean-to, we could pop a lean-to in there quite quickly. Actually, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a really shallow kind of lean-to on there. Let's say it's a 20-degree pitch, and I'll kind of estimate. But I am going to take the roof back off and do a flat roof instead. But just to kind of show you, we're going to pop a lean-to on. So what we do is we select a wall that's going to support it. We actually give the first dimension down this side is going to be the gable, and then we're actually going to give the eaves. And again, when I kind of click on that, it's probably a little bit too much. We're blocking that window, so it probably would have been a bit shallower. But we can drop that lean-to on there. All right. But I probably have to make the pitch a little bit more tighter. If that's the case, all you have to do is just do the back, undo, and then that will actually then kind of come off, and we can redo that with a slightly different pitch. But what we're going to do, I'm actually going to do a flat roof on here. What I want to do, I just want to make sure that when we put the flat roof on, it's actually going to kind of butt up to that wall. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to use a construction line. I'm just going to hover the construction line just there and press the R key. And if I go in the up direction, I can actually set that construction line 100 mil from that wall to there. And that's where I'm actually going to finish my flat roof on here. So when we go into the roof section, we can go to the flat roof, do a typical flat roof. And what we're now going to do is actually estimate it. Now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to change the soffits to 100 mil. And what I'm also going to do, I'm going to make the roof, I don't know, 3, you can do it 250. And this will actually estimate all the flat roof components, insulation, how it's going to, and again, you can, in Estimator Express, tell the software what kind of waterproofing system you're actually going to finish the roof off. And again, all you have to do, same principle we did before, select the wall that's going to support it, give the first outer corner, we're going to give one length across, and then what we're actually going to do now is I'm actually going to go up to that construction line, not up to here. So if I go up to the construction line, what that's now going to do is pop that flat roof on, and it's actually going to pop that where that meets, that's exactly across that back wall there. Okay, so you can be very, very accurate with the software. We use construction lines to actually tell the software what the dimensions we want to use, and they act as kind of guides for us to kind of place items. So we've got a flat roof on here. Okay, we've got the foundations, we've got the walls. Now we're going to put in some detail. Going to put a bifold door across there. So I said this was going to be 5 by 4. The internal dimension of that wall, again, if I click on it, is 4395. And the internal dimension of that wall, again, if I click on dimensions, is 3697. Now you've got two options on the windows and the doors. Our software does actually link in with a company called Crystal Direct. They are a windows and doors manufacturer. They do supply the trade. They nationally supply B&Q and Trade Point, but they also supply Hughes Gray, Build Base, MKM for all their kind of windows and doors. You can actually find out a little bit more if you actually Google Crystal Direct. But because software kind of links in with these guys, what we can do is actually choose their windows and doors to actually place. And what you'll do is you'll actually get a live price from them. So the size of the door that we want to do is 4395. I think the best equivalent they've got on width is about 4190. So we can put one of them in. We can do it at a 1U value, and we can do a variety of colours on the aluminium. Let's just say we're doing a white one, and then you can tell the software how it's going to hinge. So that price there is the price of that door you'll get through Crystal Direct, £4,180. Okay, so we can select that door. It'll automatically select the lintel. It'll also select the cavity closer, and then just accept defaults. And then what we can do is actually place that. If you want to place it bang in the middle, all you have to do is press the M key, and it will actually snap to that. Or if we're placing it in the corner there, and then we can open it, and then we'll get our nice kind of bifold just there. If you want to put another bifold here, maybe they kind of want it very nice and open, I can go and choose another bifold, different size. So again, I'll go and select the, what's that, 3697. I can go into the width, I'll do a 3590. Again, we'll do a white one. And again, that price there is 3340. We'll select that and then accept defaults. And then this time we're putting it up to that. Okay, so now we've got a nice kind of open extension we're actually going to build for the client. On this back wall, I'm not going to put any new, I'm going to put some windows on here. I'm going to give it a nice kind of tall effect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the Crystal Direct windows. Don't necessarily have to use Crystal Direct. We have got our own kind of stock windows in there you can use. But what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to base it on that style. I'm actually going to base it on quite a tall one. Let's say they're 2090s, and then we can do them around about 590 wide. So that window there is either £130 or the £150, which comes in different colours. We'll choose that one. And then what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to pop some windows just along there, just to kind of open that up. Okay, so if they want it nice and open, then we can do. And what we can also do in here as well is we can pop a roof lantern on. So if we want to kind of set the roof lantern to a specific distance, what I can do up here is use a construction line. I'm going to do a horizontal one first. I'm going to find just there, and then I'm also going to do another one. It's going to be a vertical one, but this time I'm actually going to pop it. Again, press the R key. That allows me to kind of set the distance. We'll do it 500 mil from that corner. So what I can now do is actually put the roof lantern to actually start from there. So the roof lantern we can go into, I can do an aluminium roof light or a plastic one. And then we can kind of choose the different style. We've got 3 to choose from. You can also put the height of it. We can also give the width and the height, and then we can actually give a length. So we'll choose that one, and then just accept defaults. To place that, all I need to do is touch one of the walls there, and then I'm going to pull that down, keep that straight, and then we've got our roof lantern just gone in there as well. Again, you can kind of choose different sizes of that. Again, if the client wants a slightly kind of bigger one, I can take that one back out, and then we can just drop in one just so it's in line with what the client's actually after. So we'll put certainly a wider one on here, a little bit more expensive, but maybe they've got the budget. So again, we can pop that one on there instead. Again, gives it a slightly kind of different effect just there. Okay. If you want to have a look through, we can go to the window and we can have a look through into the 3D, what's actually kind of going on in there. All right. Now, what we can also do with this plan, we can start putting in some of the other kind of sections. We can pop in the drainage or electrical layout. So the software also allows you to kind of place sockets. So if we've got some single sockets that are going in here, maybe we've got a single socket just there. And we've also got a couple of double socket, and maybe a double socket down there as well. If they want some downlighters in here, we can do some lighting. So we can go to some mains volts downlighters, fire rated, and then we can pop one there. And if I want to kind of make sure that if we do any more, I can then kind of use the construction line, place it bang in the middle of there, and then I can choose. And again, I can then kind of set a distance from that one to the next one to the next one using the construction lines. So if we do another one, we can use a construction line here, hover over that corner, press the R key, and then tell the software, right, we want that a meter from that one. And then again, I can also do another meter from that one using a vertical construction line, hovering over there, press the R key, and then again, we can do another meter from there. So what I can then do is go grab another of those. Okay. So as you can see, it's all nicely kind of taking shape. Now, if we want to kind of estimate this at this stage, just to kind of get a bit of an idea of cost, all I have to do is just save. I'm going to save this as a new drawing. Just going to call it rear, not rear extension. Save on the desktop. And then from within Estimator, and then what I would then do is open up Estimator Express. So in order to get that job in, I'd create a new job here. This option here is we're actually going to pull the plan in from Plans Express and estimate it. So I'll select that box. Excuse me while I take a sip of tea. It's going to be that rate extension there that I've just done. It will come in as that particular job name. I can change it in here if I want to, rate extension, or if I want to kind of highlight the job name as Mrs. Jones in London. And then what I can then do is actually say this is going to be a flat roof extension as a job description. Now the software, when it estimates it, is basing it on the what we call the master price book, which I'll explain in once we go into the estimate, and I'll show you that. We can also tell the software when this job's going to start. So let's say they don't want us to start until May. So they're giving us a date of around about the 3rd or the 5th. When we estimate it as well, we're actually going to apply what we call an extension specification. Now that's going to be setting the software out to use certain materials on the project based on our library. That's where the extension spec lives. And what that's doing is actually telling the software, for example, we're actually defaulting to an 80p brick for all the brickwork we're doing. Also, if we're doing a flat roof, the waterproofing finish, we can do like an EPDM finish on there. But if you are doing like a GRP or you're actually torching it on, you can change that. Okay. The same for the barge boards. If you are doing a flat roof, you can have the timber ones instead of the standard plastic. It does do plastic as the default within the spec, but you can change it to software if you want to. And also as well down here to actually dig out that trench. Now let's say for example on this particular job, because this is going to be a rear extension, we just don't have the room to actually get the plant into here. So what I can do, I can go into here and I can change it to a manual labor dig as opposed to a mini digger. We just can't get it in, so I'm going to have to change it to a manual labor dig. All important, how much markup you're going to put on your project. The software actually breaks the markup down with an overhead markup, so whatever your kind of business overhead is running at percentage-wise, and whatever kind of clear profit you want to make. So my total markup on this job is going to be 25%. I can adjust them in here, set them to whatever I like. And what we can also do, because we're not starting the job until May, by the time we do start building, material prices would probably have changed. They've probably gone up by the time we start building. So what I'm doing, I'm allowing 2% extra on top. Also, my labor might have gone up by the time we start building. You can change these values if you want to put a little bit kind of extra in there, and then don't put a delay on, because what you want to do, you want to make sure that when you present that quote to the client today, it's already allowing for the 5% by the time you start building and getting into it. If the job is going to start next week, you might want to put maybe a 2 or 3 week delay before that 5% kicks in. So you just know that maybe halfway through the job or 3/4 through the job, you're kind of allowing for a 5% additional. But because the job's it's got such a long lead time, we're going to not delay that whatsoever. Up here, you can actually put the client's details in. If you have kind of done this job for a job for a client before, the software will remember your kind of address information, and that will kind of attach that to the quote. So this all gets mapped over to the quote. And then all you need to then do is just press create job. Oops, build program. Where was that? Oh, wrong one. I want to do the build program automatically. I don't know why that flipped off, but that will actually calculate the build program based on the labor hours that are actually going into this project. So I'm just going to create the job and let that kind of pull the plan in into the estimate. Just while that's doing that, I'm just going to have a cup of tea and just finish this tea off and have a look at some of the questions you guys have been posting. You have been busy. Yes, we do a trial of the software. You can take this on board and have a play around with it before making any kind of decisions. I'll come back to that one. What are the support options and documentation available? Yeah, good question. On our website, just to kind of show everyone how we kind of support you. So how we support you, you actually get from the outset 12-month support and updates to kind of fall back on. Now the support and updates, the support itself gives you access to our support team Monday to Friday, 9 till 5 o'clock. So you can speak to any of these characters. They'll kind of help you, offer advice and help. We can use this technology to kind of take control of your machine and fix anything or show you anything on the software that you've already got. So that's how we kind of support you. It's all telephone support, or you can use our little kind of chat system and ask a question through that, or give us a call, speak to us over the phone. As I said, it's unlimited, so you can speak to us as often as you want, call us as many times in the course of a day. If you looked at our Trustpilot reviews, we're currently 4.8 on Trustpilot out of 49 reviews. What a lot of people will kind of say is the support really kind of jumps out. If you need any kind of help or advice, oh, my Google's gone off for some reason. That's what a lot of people do kind of talk about is the kind of support, like Tom or someone's kind of help them. So do read through of that if you can. As you can see there, some of our users have been using it for quite some time. We have been selling the software. We're actually in our 21st year, so it's not like we only kind of came into existence in the last year. We've been doing this for quite some time. Also as well, we also offer lots of how-to videos to kind of get you going. There is actually a nice little kind of training course we do on some of the software, our kind of takeoff and estimate kit. We can trace over existing plans, but this will kind of take you through like 4 modules, and they'll kind of explain. It's all on YouTube, so you can kind of watch these at your own kind of leisure and time. You can kind of trace over this stuff and do it that way, really. But lots of videos, lots of help, and that will certainly kind of support you. So some more questions firing in, so bear with me. Yeah, if you want to do an extension with an internal timber frame, good question. So what we've done there, I'll come back to the estimate in just a second. What we've actually done there is obviously the wall makeup is the brick and block. I'm just going to switch this 3D off because it does take up a bit of my resource, so bear with me. Right, so switching off that 3D. So if you want to convert these walls into a timber frame internal panel, under the external walls, you'll see just here it says convert internal leaf to a timber frame. So we can convert it to a ground floor panel with a concrete ground slab. So what that means is it's going to swap out the internal block work for this particular panel here, and this panel is then kind of estimated as it is with all the kind of dimensions on here. Your studs, etc., are all kind of done. Your vapor check, your insulation, and then press finish. So if you actually now kind of click that wall, what that will do will actually convert the internal frame to a timber frame panel with the external wall. And again, if I right click, lets me do my last thing, and then I can convert that one as well. So we can convert all these walls to timber panels, and the last one is obviously going to be just this one just here. You can put that kind of dialogue on that wall if you want to. If you want to kind of make sure that anybody kind of reading that knows that these are going to be timber frame. So you can leave them on the wall, or you can kind of pop it over there out the way. Might be an idea just to kind of leave them out the way for the time being, just so they're not getting in the way of the actual plan itself. But all that's now kind of doing is converting these these walls into timber frame, if that makes sense. Yeah, well, I mean, any of the walls can be adjusted to whatever height you want them to be, really. You adjust them there. So if you want to kind of bump that up to 2.5 or 2.6, you can do. I mean, that all these values here will determine what you're actually estimating. So all kind of can all be customized quite clearly. I'll come back to the questions in just a minute because I want to get into the Estimator Express now that has actually been estimated. I'm also going to save that change, and I'm going to show you that if I can either re-import that and then change the estimates accordingly. So now we've imported it into Estimator Express. This has now given us our construction cost of 24.5. With our kind of profit and overhead of 6137, because we said we were going to be marking up by 25%. So our actual sales price, £30,687 and 27 pence. It gives you a little kind of a chart here, just gives you a bit of a breakdown. Material costs 5.1, labour costs 4.6, plant costs about 800. There's no subcontract or sundry items at this stage. The second tab along is the actual estimating calculators we've actually estimated. So obviously we've got the 2x4 doors, they're costing 9,280. The brick and block cavity walls we've built 5,276. The flat roof we've placed 2.5. The aluminium roof light just over 2. Structural openings cost me 16. Slabs cost me 15. The 3 windows we put in just over £1,000. The screening's 971. The internal lighting's about 96 quid, and the sockets are about 83.80 to place. All right. If I want to, I can kind of drill into these walls. I can either open them from here, or I always find it easier to open them on the left-hand side just here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the external walls we've just placed. That's the 3 walls here. Okay, they are highlighted as 13, 14, and 15. The reason being is because I did kind of create these other walls here before you guys arrived. But what I can do, if I highlight that wall and then right click, what I can do, I can actually put an item note or an item kind of label on there. If I put the label, that you'll see there, that's wall number 13, and that corresponds with that wall that we've just placed. These are all the dimensions. So it's 4 meters long, 2.4 meters high, and it's got an opening of 3.7 square meters. So again, if I highlight that wall, I can right click, pull out the dimensions, and that will actually then kind of give you the dimensions from within there anyway. Okay. And that's then corresponding to that wall there. So it will kind of section out each wall that you've actually drawn. Second tab along is actually looking at the overall resources that are going into the wall. I'm going to filter by just showing quantities on the top toolbar. So this is now kind of telling me how many bricks are actually going to go into that wall. Okay, we've got 662 bricks we're actually using. We're going to waste about 33 of them. So over total, we're actually going to use 695 bricks, give or take the amount of openings and stuff we've got in there as well. And the reason it's actually calculating those bricks is because within the software, we've kind of hardwired this kind of estimated rate. So we're actually estimating all our wall brickwork at £48 a square metre. Reason being is we're actually using 60 bricks for every square metre we actually lay for bricks above the DPC, less any openings we form. So we're actually using, as I said, there's also a calculation of wastage in the estimate, which is 5%. So we're actually doing 695 bricks across those 3 walls. That's why it's estimating at the price that it is. Insulation, all the blocks are done. The coursing blocks done, if any. The cavity insulation is done. The brick ties are being estimated as well. Also the DPCs, sand, cement, building sands being done in there as well, even down to the fitting of the skirting, also the fixings that you're going to be estimating as well, all the way down to the kind of decoration finish. And then what it starts doing now is actually getting into the labour side of things. So we've got kind of ground worker crews, 2 and 1 gangs. They're actually excavating the trench. Bear in mind as well, we actually told the software we weren't going to require any plant to excavate it. We're actually using the ground worker and mate to do that. There's 21 hours worth of work there. And the reason being is we actually work out, they've got their own estimated rate, which is £180 per cubic metre, because we're actually estimating that in 3 hours, they'll do 1 cubic metre. Now, we've got a job, when we dig out the trenches, it's going to be 7 cubic metre volume. So we're now going to allow 21 hours to actually dig that out by hand. Okay, so that's the way the software actually arrives at the prices that it does. It applies this kind of estimated rate. Now that estimated rate can be changed. Let's say in 3 hours, we're doing 1.5. That means that we're going to short up the amount of hours on the job. It's now going to go down to 14 because we're actually increasing that rate there. That's actually now going to go to £72 a square meter, cubic meter. So yeah, you can kind of change that to whatever you like it to be. You can adjust these rates. Same for the brickies that are actually laying the bricks that we were banging on about, the 692 bricks. We've got a 2 and 1 gang who are doing that. It's going to roughly take them about an hour to do 1.6 square meters. So again, on a job, 11 square meters, we're actually doing 6 hours or 7 hours worth of the brickwork on there, less any openings we're actually forming. So that's just the walls really. Everything in the software has actually got a rate. If you're putting down the slab, again, I'll go into the slab, and then we can actually have a look at it's picking up the overall dimensions of the slab, and then this is now kind of going into the overall cost or quantities. So it's now kind of allowing for the slabs in there. As I said, if you want to kind of change the steel in the opening, I can highlight the structural opening. So we're going to go into that opening reforms. I'm going to go into the calculator resources, and what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to highlight the lintels in here. If we do need to change them, all I need to do, I like to use the resource wizard, and what I can then do is actually highlight lintel number 1. I can change that. I can go to my universal beams within the software, and I can go and choose a beam according to the engineer, what beam they actually want across there. That will obviously kind of change the price. And then we can also do the same to the second one. That was £96. So again, I'm going to go to the universal beams. I'm going to change that again. Try and find it again now. I think it was that one. So again, I'm now going to put 2 lintels on there. Or you can just use the 1. If you're only using the 1, you can kind of set that one as not required, and you've just got the 1 beam in there. So you can change up any of the software really. But out the box, it's all being kind of set up with its own kind of default values. What it also does, it kind of leaves some of these other items in here. One of the ones that we've just recently got in, it's not actually included in here, but I'm actually going to add a new worksheet. For all those being affected by obviously kind of COVID, we can actually apply the small extension COVID cost. So on this kind of top toolbar here, I can put in whatever I like. What this allows us to do is allow for 8 distancing vests, 280 masks, 10 washable masks, 3 packs of disposable gloves, 100 pack sizes. Face visors, we've got 4. Helmets, we've got 2. Hand sanitizer stations, we've got 1. If we were doing a slightly bigger job, where it was a larger extension or even a house, you'd have more kind of sanitizer stations. The default would be a lot larger. Number of hand sanitizer refills, hand sanitizers in there, paper towels you're going to require, as well as any kind of signage. So we're allowing £15 for signage, £10 for posters, and £10 for stickers, even a spray can to actually spray on the site any kind of messages and stuff. We're also allowing for some additional site supervision time, and that's actually now going to put an extra £3,000 on there, just for your kind of COVID controls. You can change the costs in here as well, by the way. If you're your 100 pack sizes, I can change that resource. So it depends on the how you're getting that in. We can say maybe you're buying them in bigger packs. Maybe you're getting them in the 300s, and maybe that's cost. Maybe you're getting them at £10 for 300. So I can change that if I want to. Okay. So we can change anything in here, really. Right, let's see if you've got any more questions. Are the prices of suppliers updated automatically? So, good question. I was going to kind of mention the price book. So, within the library, well, I can access it here under the job settings. So, this is our kind of price book here. Whenever you do an estimate, it kind of makes a copy of the price book and creates a very specific job price book, but this all kind of feeds off from the library, the master price book. So what I've got here is, let's say for example, my price book, I'm just going to filter this, because out the box you actually get what we call the HBXL price tracker prices. Now what that price there represents, if you were kind of Googling building sands and you went shopping on Google, it's obviously going to return all these different builders merchants with different costs of the sand. Some are going to be the shelf edge price before any discounts, but if you walked into a kind of B&Q or somewhere, you'd be paying, I think theirs is about £38 for a ton of sand. You can even kind of do a quick search and have a look in where is it, a Build a Depot or even Selco. If you went to Build a Depot, you're obviously seeing that in there for about £45.54, and that's Inc VAT if you're doing like an ex VAT price. Oh, it doesn't look like their button works anyway. You're obviously going to take some money off that. So what that kind of £41 there represents is we actually track materials online from various kind of builders merchants, and then what we do is we populate the software with a going average of what the market conditions are. So if the market is going up or down, then we change our average accordingly. What I've done in there, I think this was on a previous demo, I've actually just adjusted the average price by about 15%. So my actual purchase cost I'm getting at my building sand is actually £34.85. I can make that kind of adjustment whatever I like, really. And what that will do will actually track against the market average by my adjustment. So if the market average is going up, it's actually going to increase my overall net purchase cost by about 20% against that average. Or I can tell the software I don't want to track it. I'm going to kind of manage that price myself. So I can tell the software to stop downloading whenever I like, and I'll kind of manage that price going forward. So any of these kind of prices in here, you can kind of edit them. If you want to change your pea gravel bulk bag, again, you can change that, or you can put an adjustment on there. if I want to drop that by about 10%, depends on how much I'm actually getting it for. There's the we do actually link in with Travis Perkins for those that do kind of shop there, and we also link in with kind of Trade Point as well. But yeah, Travis Perkins, we actually link the software directly to your account. You've actually got with them, and then that will kind of pool in the Travis Perkins prices automatically, as well as the kind of discounts will come into the discount column if you do end up buying those. Labour rates, they are again a reflection of the industry, what the kind of the overall average is for brickies. We've got them in around about £25 an hour for the brickie, which is equivalent to about £200 a day. I'm speaking to a lot of builders who might be spending maybe about 180, maybe up in the northeast about 160. So if you want to adjust that, 160 divided by 8 is about £20 an hour. So what I can do, I can edit that resource. Again, if I want to overwrite that to £20, I can do. Or what I can do, I can knock 15% off that or something, whatever it's going to be. All right. It's probably what, about 20%, isn't it? Yeah. So it's about 20% difference if I wanted to change that brickie cost to £20 an hour, which is my other rate. So you can adjust any of your material prices in there as well. You can put your own suppliers in to a degree. You can put them in individually. You can't, unfortunately, kind of put them in bulk. But any kind of material in the software, you can make a copy of and put your own materials in there as well. If I want to right click on the ballast bulk bag under the price book, I can put a new resource, and then that will kind of write a new one. I can put whatever price I want in there. I can put whatever merchant I want to apply it to. If the merchant's not in there, I'll just call it Brady's Materials. I can apply that to Brady's Materials. I can also tell the software how long that's going to be typically to be delivered once I place my order. And then off the back of the estimate, you'll actually have a report that tells you when you need to order that material by, based on its use across the project. So yeah, you can apply your own ones. Obviously, you can set your own wastage allowances, and you can put your VAT in there as well. Good question about the Macs. All our software is Windows based, so it will only work on a Windows operating system. Obviously, with a Mac, you can install Windows onto a Mac. You do that via Boot Camp, which is Apple's own partitioning the software. So within your Mac, you'll actually have this, what's called Boot Camp, and that allows you to install Windows on your Mac. You'll obviously have to get a copy of Windows, but once that's all done, you can then run the software on your Mac through Windows. Hopefully that answers that particular question. There was a question on the screed. So on the plan, I've obviously kind of screeded all the way back to here through the opening. So I've actually dropped the slab, the concrete slab, into this opening section here, where the opening is. So we've obviously kind of taken that wall section out. We've knocked that through. I mean, you could have just stopped it there if you wanted to, or you could have carried on the floor around to that area. I mean, I could have carried that slab all the way through if you wanted to. If you're taking up this section, you can put that slab in wherever you like, really. And then what you're then doing is just screeding the area that you kind of want. If you only want to do a half screed, I could have just half screeded it if I wanted to. Then that will estimate it. But once it's kind of pulled into the software under my estimate, so the screed here is actually now kind of giving me an area of the screeds. So under the dimensions, we've now got 17.5 square meters of screed we've actually done on that floor. That's all just determined by how I've actually placed it on top of the slab. So hopefully that answers that particular question. Yeah, I've done through edit prices. Yeah, we've done that. We've done the labor prices as well. Done the trial. We've done the support. Hopefully that's answered all those questions. Yeah, it's a good question about can the software be used with pre-existing architectural. So what I've done before you guys arrived, I drew the house out myself, and then I've obviously kind of set all this house to be non-estimated, and the only bit I'm really focused on is there. But if you do already have a set of plans, what you can do with the software, if you know the size of the plan and the scale, you can open up a drawing based on the PDF plan you've got. Under this kind of button here where it says scan and trace, you can actually import either a PDF or an existing DWG or DXF file. So if you've had the architectural drawings already from the designer, you can import them. If you get a PDF, which tends to be about 90% of the builders I speak to, you can, there's a set of plans I've got on my desktop. Actually, let's do the one that I just did. So bear with me. So what I was doing, the plan I actually ended up getting in was the one that we do in the course. So that would kind of make sense. So second page along, it's going to be that one. So what I'm going to do here is, let's do a slightly different finish. We'll do an external cavity block wall. Do it 2.4 meters high. And all I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to use the tools on the keyboard. I'm going to justify that across. I'm going to flip the wall, press the F key so it's facing the right way. And then I'm just going to use the construction lines where they actually meet. I haven't put one along here, but that's fine. I can just do it by eye, hold down the shift key. That keeps all the walls straight. Do it to that one, and then we can finish off where we started. So what you're then doing is actually tracing over an existing plan, and when you kind of have it in trace mode, it has that nice kind of thick blue line, so you can determine what you've done against the plan that's sitting underneath. If you want to do a second floor on that, all we do is copy that floor. So this is all I did earlier before you guys arrived, and then I copy that one over. And then what we're actually then telling the software is the second floor we're putting in. It's going to remove out all the foundations because it's obviously going on the first floor. And then we can actually say to that wall height is could be 2.5 upstairs. And that will then kind of copy over another wall. And then on the 3D, you've actually then got 2 floors that are identical size, but this one is probably a little bit higher than that one by 100 mil. So yeah, you can trace over existing plans quite easily. One I did for a builder, I didn't do it for him, but he sent me a nice big extension, which is this one. So what we did here was this orange section is the existing, and then what he was building was an extension at the front, which was a single story with a lean-to. And then you had this kind of double story wrap around here. Also had a porch at the back as well as a garage. So uploaded the PDF, traced over it, and then we kind of get this kind of preview just here in 3D. So yeah, that's me kind of following an existing plan we do. Obviously put the lean-to with the double story on the sides, little kind of flat roof section at the back with a porch. I don't have time to do the garage, but I could have done it quite easily if I wanted to. Right, lots of questions coming through, so I am going to try and get through these as quick as I can. Yeah, as I said, you can do the wall heights to whatever you like, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, just adjust them if the one of the defaults isn't there. It is in millimeters. The software does read it in millimeters. You can change it to centimeters, or if you want to do them in kind of feet and inches, you can do. You can change that, but you just have to remember. But it does default as a millimeter dimension when you kind of place it. So if you do a wall going in any kind of direction, when you kind of do the up arrow key, it will that there is actually millimeters, because that's what we've actually set out here. But if you did change that, just remember you have changed it. You don't want to be estimating something too big. I've never done it with the brick sizes, I have to say, but you can do. If I just place a wall there. Yeah, you can do them brick length or brick height. I've never used it myself. Never explored that. But I mean, you got to size your bricks there really. So yeah, you can do. I've never done it, so I wouldn't want to try and kind of demonstrate it, but it can be done in there. So that's that question. Yeah, you can centralize it using the construction lines on the. I was probably just being a bit lazy today. With a bit of time and patience, what I'd definitely be doing on there. Go away, 3D. Yeah, what I'd definitely be doing on there is finding out what the length of the wall. I think we were about 5 meters. If that roof lantern is 3 meters long, I'd be kind of setting a construction line as I did there. I only set it about 500 mil in from that corner, so I just have to probably do a little bit of the maths just to kind of make sure it is kind of central. Also, as well, if you want to do it central from there and there, just use some construction lines to kind of place, like what we did on the downlighters, where you can actually set a construction line 1 meter from that one, 1 meter from that one. We would just do that the same on the roof lantern, and what size roof lantern we wanted to kind of pop in there. Can I cope with the timber frame extension on top of an existing cavity wall extension? I'll probably park that question. I might just ask the guys in our support team maybe to kind of come back to you on that one, Glenn, about the timber frame. I do know from a development point of view, we're making some big changes to the way that the software handles timber frame. How that would then, I haven't seen it, but I do know it's going to make life a lot easier when it comes to timber frame. But I might kind of park that question and come back to you on that one if that's cool. With regards to the material you're going to use on the walls, that would be taken up in Estimator Express. So once the walls go in, you could change any of the materials from the resources here if you wanted to add a sundry item, or if you wanted to swap out anything in there. But if you want to add something to the wall that isn't standard, within the sundry item section, which is the next to the resource tab, just add the material there, and then that will allow you to kind of add a specific material, or you can actually add multiple resources. So by adding multiple resources, you can actually add materials and labor to this. So if you're adding a very specific fireproofing on that, and then you wanted to put a little bit of additional labor against that, you can then just pop pop those in the sundry items, and then kind of again set their kind of rates, how that's going to be calculated, or swap out whatever the material is on here. If it was going to be like cavity insulation or something, just right click and swap it out just there. So yeah, you can modify, but that would be done in Estimator Express rather than Plans Express. Plans Express just cares about the size and shape. Once it comes into Estimator Express, then you can kind of make some kind of modifications. Right, I'm definitely trying to get to a lot of questions today. You guys are pretty cool. Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. CIS labor rates. I mean, it's a pretty much kind of flat rate. I mean, it's the going rate that the builder's charging. You could factor it into your labor rates if you needed to. But I mean, any of the reports can be, if you wanted to kind of take some of the labor reports out, you could kind of do it. Under outputs, you've got your data reports here. If you wanted to kind of take your labor time schedules or labor task list, that will allow you to kind of export the data out of the software into an Excel spreadsheet. But that should then kind of carry the labor rates in there. But CIS, I'm not sure. I can't really answer that. I'll maybe kind of come back to you on that one. So you can customize the scale drawings, yes. You can kind of set the scale to whatever you like, especially if you don't know the scale. You can, there's a lovely little kind of tool in the software. If I didn't actually know the size of the, let me just take all that off. Yeah, if I didn't actually know the scale of that, when we upload, let's say we're pulling in a PDF that we just don't know the actual proper scale of. So I could just paste it on there. Now, because we do know the scale there, we know a size, say the door we know is 3 meters wide. It's telling us that we've got a dimension. We can use that button. So what we then do is tap or just touch the edge of the corner, and then we actually measure off there and pop in 3000. And by pressing OK, the software then rescales that drawing to its original size. So if you don't know the scale, you can do that. Or if you're actually creating a new job, you can actually use the wizards, and you can put in whatever you want to measure in, and you can put in whatever scale you want in there as well. As I said, I mean, it's a CAD system, so it's got all the kind of drawing elements you're probably finding in any CAD system. Different scales, different plan sizes. You can do them in portrait modes. If you want it to be in there, you can do your little grids and stuff on there as well, if that wants to help. So it is a drawing tool, and it's even got its own lines you can just draw on the plan if you want to kind of do that as well. So it's got all the kind of drawing tools you'll probably find in a plan. You can also upload images. I'll show you this job here, just to kind of give everyone an idea of the flavour of what it does. Let me just shut down some of these drawings. Save that. So just to kind of give everyone an idea, I'm just going to load up a drawing now while I answer these questions as we go. There's a lot of questions to get through. Yeah, funny enough, this here might answer that last question that came in. This is a full set of the plans done in Plans Express as an example. So once the plan's been done here, this is exactly what I did earlier. This is obviously a slightly kind of bigger build. We can set out all the dimensions. You can also put in some of the other kind of the more kind of the other detail, internal doors where toilets are going to go. So under the kind of plumbing section, you can put in where bath, showers, sanitary ware is going to be placed. We can also see that on the first floor, we've got the hot water cylinder as well as the landing in the bathroom going to be in there. Once it's been done, under the views in 3D, you've got the draw elevation button. Now what we can then do is actually start drawing these elevations. And once the elevations are up, there's a little button in here that allows you to kind of hatch the elevation. So it then puts in like the tile information. And what we can also do is that feature masonry. If you do want to put some stone coins in, I know it's already got some in there. Let me just do small coin here. So if I want to do a single one, I could just if I want to, once it's in elevation, I can put an additional one in there if I want to. But that one there, that's a whole section of coins. I can take that off if I don't want it, and then I can put in I can kind of put in a new one. 10 stack left, and then we can even put half coins or whatever we're going to put in there. But once it's in elevation, we can also do the different sections. So there's funny enough, a section of sections in the software. It allows you to kind of place brick and block kind of walls here, different sections. If we're doing like a flat roof, if we're doing a different kind of shapes, different sizes, if we're doing timber frame walls, you can then kind of draw the section for the timber frame walls, as well as foundation sections. You can kind of draw them, you can kind of see them on the drawing, staircases, people for reference. And then because it's been estimated, once it's been estimated, you can then kind of pull in the building reg notes from the estimate. So once it's been estimated, it generates the building reg notes, which can then be transferred back into Plans Express. There's some other ones down here. So these are all the elements that we've estimated, and all the building reg notes can then be placed back onto the plan. So yeah, you can do small extensions up to new builds, multi-storied, loft conversions, all types of stuff. All right, let's have a look at this one. Yeah, so that question about the current values. So whenever you do an estimate, it makes a copy of the price book at that moment, and then creates a job price book. That job price book remains as it is unless you synchronize it with the master price book. So if the job's been estimated and it's taken a couple of weeks, but prices have changed, the job price book will remain the same as it was when it was originally created, unless you synchronize any changes from the master price book. If that changed today, you can synchronize over and say, right, update the estimate based on these rates. So yeah, you can. There's a couple of different kind of features around the price book. I.e., if you put a material into the job, it doesn't automatically populate the master price book unless you tell it to synchronize it back. So it kind of does lock the estimate down into the prices as they were. I think that answers the that question. Yeah, I mean, semi-detached. Again, just going on a previous job I did for said job. It was just a trace over. This was a set of plans I got from a builder again. This is now looking at the underlying PDF. So what this was this is one dwelling here. This is another dwelling split over by an internal cavity block wall. And then we actually had this kind of section off, so it's another property facing that way. It was a two-story, well, I think it was a two-story with the roof on. So that again is just tracing over an existing plan. It could have been done without the trace over. It could have been done on its own. But then if I spring the 3D, that does take a couple of seconds to load because it's quite a big plan. So yeah, it can be semi-detached, detached on a single site. So you can create different scenarios, different kind of shapes and stuff on that. I mean, if that's the kind of going on and on and on, it could be kind of extended. But that's obviously your two individual dwellings with this one just on the end. But all you have to do, if you want to kind of carry on and that's in the vertical, you can just kind of create another plan off the back of that, and then this again could all be part of with different scales and stuff. You can create as many plans down here as you like, and then just copy over. If you want to copy that over onto the next plan, you can do. There's obviously a copy and paste function. So yeah, you can copy that across as many times as you want. Yeah, we can custom the scale. I think we've added. Yeah, all the drainage can be done. I probably didn't show it on this one, but this complete house does actually kind of showcase the drainage, and also if you're actually doing tarmacking a drive, we've got a drive there. We're actually doing a tarmac. That can be found in the external works. So if we're tarmacking roads or drives, and if we're putting down some block paving, so at the back of this property, we've actually got a patio. We're actually showing there. So that can be done on the external side. And if you're doing drainage, you can kind of put in where your drain runs are going to run from, inspection chambers, deep manholes. So we've got those, which are all obviously kind of coming off the guttering. So what you see on this plan, I guess, is kind of showcasing what you can do. I mean, this is an A1 1 to 100, so it's a big old plan with all these different kind of layouts just on the one page, just to kind of show you. All right. So hopefully that's been meant. Yes, you can do 0% VAT for the new bill when you produce the quote. Actually, it's one thing I probably didn't show you. If everyone's got still the paying attention, you can kind of create the quote here, and you can set the VAT to a 0 value. Let that load up a second. So this is off. I think it's off our plan, isn't it? Yeah. Give it a second. Right. So that's our quote there. You can upload your own logo to the quote, obviously. You can place that wherever you like on the quote. It gives a nice little kind of covering page, and it goes into an actual letter. That letter can be modified. You can overwrite the existing HBXL default one, put your own wording, put your own, the way that you kind of present that. Gives you then a kind of a breakdown summary of each build phase, their costs. Obviously, if you've got the VAT there, we can kind of set that VAT value either being fixed or that if you're not actually VAT registered, or as a percentage, you can zero that out and then apply that change. Okay, and then obviously if you want to make sure your inflation's on there, I think we said it was going to be about, I can't remember, was it 2 or 5%? We can then bump that quote up a little bit just to allow for future inflation. And then it starts kind of going down here to your costs and you can actually kind of show the client some of the materials and stuff you've used on it. If you don't want to show that, you don't have to. You can tell the software to hide those under hide all resources, and that will just hide everything. So they don't get to see what you've estimated with. They just get a breakdown of each build phase, a little description. You can change the descriptions, foundations, first and second fixes, and then you've got a price down there, which they get to accept, and then you can leave them with your terms and conditions. You can paste into that column there. Sorry, just going through a lot of these questions. We did get quite a few today. Yeah, it can give a materials list. That'll be under your reports. So under your kind of the data reports, a good one is the actual materials order schedule. It does the kind of produce when you need to order the material, because each material's got a kind of a lead time, which you can determine. But this is the kind of now telling you when you need to order those materials, because they're going to be used on these kind of build phases. So when you need to order that, and then you've obviously got your values here as well. So yeah, that's a good one. Or you can just use it by material task list. And again, some of these reports have slightly kind of different views. There's lots of different reports: cash flow reports, projected forecast reports, profit reports, and any of these kind of reports can be then kind of exported as Excel or PDF formats, however you want to get them out, really. Yeah, so the whole site would include all landscaping, roads, everything really goes into it. All the landscaping would be decking, turfing the grass and stuff as well. Yeah, you could obviously kind of put a what do you call it, ordnance survey maps and stuff onto it. I think my colleague actually sent me a plan that kind of showcases that a little bit. Where's the one that he was doing? So you can put any image on here, really. You can put any of this stuff on, and all you have to do is just use the image button there. If you've got that as a saved image, just drop that on, I think. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's an image, you can kind of pop what you like on there. I mean, you could be kind of creating multiple pages on this. I mean, this could be just one project, but multiple pages, all at different information on. You can kind of create that. I think as well, you can go into this kind of layout editor, and then you can kind of create all these different kind of layouts under one page, under one kind of drawing. So yeah, you can kind of do that as well. Yeah, I'm going to come back to you about that question about the timber frame. It's probably one that my colleagues can ask. There's one question, I think, on the demolitions. Once it's in Estimator Express, one thing I didn't do either was the build program. I'll come to the demolitions in just a second. The build program gets generated. That's basing your build program on the labor hours that are going into the project. So that's kind of driving your build program. So we've then got, and if we want to kind of shorten any of these, we can do, or we want to kind of move them up a little bit, we can do. You can put in like lag times and stuff as well. So it does create a build program off the back of the estimate. But under the main estimate, if you do want to, when we're forming the opening, it is kind of taking away the amount of wall away when you actually form the opening. So that's allowing for that, and then putting in the steel, etc. But if you want to just demolish a wall in Estimator Express under renovation and demolition, you can just go into the demolition. Where is it? Demolition of walls. If you're doing like a small area or a large area, or even an internal partition wall. If it's a large area, so this could be away from the job you're actually building, and then that kind of gives you an allowance of how high what the height of the wall you're removing, what the total length. So it might be a garage you're kind of taking down. If you're ripping up the foundations, and then it kind of gives you a breaker, JCB if required. You can kind of set those values to whatever you like, really. But that's giving you about £7,000 to demolish that wall. And it's even kind of estimating your skips, etc., to kind of take that down. But if you're doing like a roof renovation, the software will do like roof renovations, extensive roof renovations, or just doing tile and lead work. Or if you're upgrading your garage walls, because you're converting the garage into a living area or an office, you can upgrade the block walls. So yeah, I mean, it can that's your kind of block wall you're upgrading now. And then plaster and decorate it, which my brother-in-law has just done himself. So yeah, I'm to re-insulate the garage walls and stuff, and then re-plastered and put his plasterboard and stuff up. So it does also do that as well. Can those drawings be linked? Well, they are in theory kind of linked because they're on the same page. What you can do with this is you could kind of create a new layout. I mean, it's not going to change. I'm not sure what. I think that particular thing, Jonathan, is what we'll probably do is have a bit more of a kind of a chit chat over the phone about what it is that you want to do, rather than this particular scenario. So we'll kind of follow up on that anyway. In all honesty, I'll be following up on the on everyone that's kind of attended today, just to kind of see where you're at and see if you kind of got a lot out today. It's hard to kind of put into, I guess, context what the software can do in a very kind of short space of time. To a large group, you've obviously got all your questions, but I mean, the software, yeah, I mean, it can do a lot, which we've probably only just maybe kind of scratched the surface today about what it can do. I mean, we've obviously got a lot of builders who do, not just builders, but a lot of users who use this, and they are kind of producing competent kind of plans, putting them through planning, and they're all getting kind of signed off and stuff. So if you do have the kind of knowledge of how to kind of do all this stuff in the right hands, it's a very, very kind of powerful tool. And the fact that you're then kind of getting an estimate off the back end of it, it's all kind of broken down with all your reports and stuff anyway. Once you kind of crack it, it doesn't really kind of take that long to kind of put this stuff together, in all honesty. I think we surprise a lot of our users just how easy this stuff is to use once you kind of understand the principles. And if you've got a little bit of kind of CAD background, I think you'll definitely crack this. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys get off. I'm gonna look at a lot of the questions you've got, speak to you kind of individually. Hopefully we're trying to maybe get those answered. It might mean that we'll have to get one of the guys to speak to you from our support team. But yeah, thanks for your attention, your time, and we'll catch up. All right, no worries. Cheers, guys. Take it easy. Appreciate that. Bye bye.